begin with one hand over your heart, one over your belly. And as you close your eyes, bring your chin inwards and your gaze down to your heart center. And connecting on this day that is connected with Irish and luck, connecting with the luck that you're experiencing in this moment. A big part of luck is just kind of recognizing when things go our way, recognizing the joy and the beauty that's inherent in that, recognizing when we feel like we're living within the flow. And so let that feeling spread throughout your body as you breathe here, gently inviting a deeper inhale and a fuller exhale. And as you connect here with your intention for your practice, I'll invite you to hold on to this feeling of gratitude, this feeling of lucky. And allow yourself to simply be present here for this practice. And with your next inhale, draw your hands towards each other. Lift your chin upwards. And take the sound of Om together. Nice inhale. Ah. And then releasing your hands down, let your eyes open. And returning to this space. I love the bird sounds that are surrounding you.
Peacocks.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm going to mute though, just for folks watching later so they can hear me, but it's beautiful. Let's begin by coming to our hands and our knees. And as you come to your hands and your knees, just settle each wrist directly beneath its shoulder, each knee directly beneath its hip. Draw your shoulders towards each other, pull your heart forward, nice big inhale, and exhale, round into your spine. Drop the weight of your head down. Let yourself move organically here. Linking each movement here with your breath. Noticing if your body needs any extra wiggles as you move here. Good. Bringing yourself towards center here. Let's extend the right leg long. And as your right leg lengthens behind you, press your toes down. I'm realizing I need to just shift this camera ever so slightly back. Here we go. So toes down, and we'll inhale, press back, lengthening the muscles in the back of your right leg. Exhale, lean forward, maybe coming to the tips of your toes, maybe rolling over your toes. So we're inhaling back, exhaling forward, moving with your breath. And always an option to give some extra padding to your knee here. Good. The next time you find yourself pressing back through your heel, let's pause here. bring your right hand to your hip, drop your right heel towards the ground, rotate the toes to point forward, coming onto your supporting left arm, and then extend your right arm long, parallel to your ear, reaching forward. If that causes shoulder discomfort, keep your hand on your hip. Gaze here could drop to your supporting hand, might stay forward, might lift up, looking towards the ceiling. Nice deep breaths here. Good, and on an inhale, send that right hand back to your hip if it's not there already. Use your exhale, rotate down, drop your right palm down, bring your right knee in, and then send your hips towards your heels, lengthen both arms in front of you, lower your forehead here to a block or to the ground, coming into the pose of the child. Nice deep breathing here in our Balasana. And here from your child's pose, rotate the palms of your hands still in front of you to face towards each other and join your palms together. Bend at your elbows so that your joined hands come behind your head, maybe towards your shoulder blades, coming into the prayerful child position. And as your hands lift, you might inch your elbows ever so slightly forward towards that top line of your yoga mat. So the next exhale, lengthen your arms long, rotate your palms once more to catch the ground. Press into your palms so that your elbows lift away from the ground. And next inhale, float yourself forward and up, coming back into our tabletop pose here. And we'll take a few rounds here back to our Chakravarkasana, cat and cow pose. Nice inhale, pull your heart forward. And exhale, round inward. Good. Next breath, let's bring your body to a neutral spine. Gaze down. Extend now your left leg long behind you, toes pressing into the ground. And here we'll find that same movement we did on the other side. So pressing through your heels, nice inhale here. Exhale, rolling forward, maybe to your tiptoes, maybe over the toes. I'm just moving back and forth here, finding this gentle awakening of the big muscles in the back of your leg. Good. And the next time you press back through your left heel, let's pause here. Take your left hand, invite your left hand to your left hip, drop your heel down, rotate your toes to point forward. I'm finding ourselves here being supported by right knee, right arm. Might stay here, hand in your hip. Might take the option to extend here, left arm parallel to your left ear. Maybe your gaze rotates up, pulling that left arm even further back towards the wall behind you. Maybe your gaze drops if that better helps you release tension in your neck and your jaw. Wherever you are, stay connected to that nice deep breath. And that connection with gratitude, with the luck of life. Good. Big inhale here. Exhale, send your hand back to your hip if it's not there already. Rotate heart down, catch the ground with your left hand, bring your left knee in. And again, we'll bring it back into our pose of the child. Hips come to your heels, forehead softening down to the ground. Might stay here, arms long in front of you, or we might take the variation in which you reach backwards to hold onto your heels. Good. If your hands are back, let's bring your hands forward here. Settle your palms beneath your shoulders. Press yourself up into a kneeling position. Good. And from kneeling, lean forward so that you're supporting your weight with your hands. Curl your toes under. Might stay here as we stretch into your plantar fascia, or you might bring your hands upwards, bringing more weight into your hips. And if we do come to rise, don't uncurl the toes. Keep the toes curled under here. Good. So if you're lowered, go ahead, stay lowered. But let's bring one hand to heart center here. Good. Open your hand to the side. Look away from your long arm. Inhale, bring your hand back to center. Good. So the hand and the heart. Yeah, there it is. It's the one that's opening. So we inhale here, stretch your hand out, bring your gaze opposite, and then bring it back to center on the exhale. Good. Twice more on this arm. Inhaling, open. Exhaling, close. Good. Bringing this hand down to your lap, we'll take the other arm, heart center. Inhale, stretching to the side. Bring your gaze opposite shoulder, and exhale, close. Good. Last time here. Bringing your hand back to center. Settle your hands back onto the ground. Free those toes. Give them a nice little wiggle. And then rotate also into your ankles. Good. Release now. Tops of your feet down to the ground. Tops of your feet down, so toes not curled under. Take a seat here onto your heels. Good. So beginning to stretch now the fronts of the ankles. This might already be a good stretch. If it is, keep your knees down. If, though, you'd like to play a little bit here, you're going to lean backwards, bring your hands to your heart, peel your knees up and away from the ground. So knees lifting up and away from, yeah, you don't have to. If it's available. Let's bring our elbows into the sides. Bring pinky to thumb. So not Gyan Mudra, which is forefinger, instead pinky to thumb. And let's inhale, arms open. Exhale, bring your elbows in. Inhale to open. Bringing it in with your exhale. Dropping into your rhythm here. Good. Next time your hands come in, bring your palms to your heart. Lower those knees if they were lifted. Bring yourself back onto hands and knees here. Nice tabletop position. Good. And from your tabletop position, spread your fingers nice and wide. Curl your 10 toes under. Lift your hips up and back, coming into our first Adho Mukha Svanasana. Let this be a wiggly shape for you this morning. And so bending, straightening opposite knees, letting your hips move, maybe letting your gaze move side to side. Give yourself some time here just to shake out those tenser areas, tighter areas, allowing your body to open into this practice today. Lift your gaze here, lift both heels up if they're not already, and walk your toes forward towards your hands. Bring your fingertips to your knees, lengthen your spine here, gaze down, spine long, then exhale, fold inwards, release the weight of your head down. Inhale, both hands come to your hips. Roll your shoulders onto your spine. Use your exhale, rising up here. Inhale, stretching for the sky. Exhale, bring your palms towards each other. Heart center, Anjali Mudra. Nice inhale, stretch tall, lift your heart, lift your gaze. Exhale, lengthen forward, lower down, coming to our forward fold. Always the option, of course, to have blocks underneath your hands if that floor feels far. Bring your fingertips to your knees. Find that half fold, gaze down. Exhale, draw your belly button in. Release the weight of your head down. Bend enough into your knees to bring your palms fully to your mat. As your palms land, spread your fingertips wide. Step your feet backwards, coming back into the shape of our Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Maybe still wiggling here if that's what your body is craving. Maybe if your shoulders are feeling extra tight this morning, maybe walk your hands as wide as or wider than your mat. Keep your head heavy here, neck long, gaze is backwards. Find a release in our facial muscles here. Nice big inhale. As you exhale, make the funniest face that you can. Inhaling here, releasing that face. Exhale, make another different silly face. Good, releasing that. Let's bring both knees down to the ground here. As your knees lower, separate your knees the width of your mat. Invite your big toes towards each other. Bring your hips towards your heels. Yogi's choice on what your hands do here has become once more to our pose of the child. Rest your forehead here onto a block or onto the ground. Find that gentle movement side to side of your head, massaging here into your brow point. Good. On an inhale, stretch your hands forward if they're not already. Palms stretching down into the ground. Press into your palms to lift your arms upwards and then float your body upwards here. And as your body rises, walk your knees back beneath your hips. Good. Stretch your right toes behind you, coming back to the shape we began with. And as your right leg lengthens long, press through your right heel, bring your right hand to your hip, rotate heel down, toes forward, coming back into this variation of our side plank. Left knee down supporting us, left hand supporting us. And always an option, I know we're on our knees a lot today, so always an option to support that standing knee with a fold of your mat or with a blanket. Good, so option to stay here, option to take that right arm parallel to your ear. Good, option to stay here or lift your right foot up to hip height. As your foot leaves the ground, press through your heel. Keep your right toes drawing back towards your knee. Good, option to stay here, right arm reaching forward, or stretch those right fingertips up to the sky, coming into a kneeling variation of our half moon, Ardha Chandrasana here, breathing deep. Good, next exhale, lower those right heels if they're lifted. Inhale here. Exhale, unwind. Send your right hand back down to the ground. Bring your right knee in, and then walk your right foot between your hands. Good. Let's begin to send those hips forward and backwards here. So still working to awaken these bigger muscles along the right leg. So we'll be inhaling, come forward. Maybe pull your gaze upwards. Exhale, draw in. Good. The next time we come forward here, let's pause here. Curl your left toes under if they're not already. Take both hands to your right thigh. Good. Slide your right heel ever so slightly backwards, 1 footstep or half a footstep. Good. Bring both hands here to heart center, both hands to heart center. Lean lightly forward. So lean your chest towards your front knee. Press into your back toes. Lift your back knee up and away from the ground. And then step your feet towards each other. There it is. Coming to standing. Release your hands by your side. Nice big inhale, Urdhva Hastasana, reaching for the sky. Exhale, lead with your heart as you fold here into your Uttanasana, standing forward fold. Bring your fingertips to your knees, lengthen long. Exhale, draw inwards here. Bend your knees enough to bring your hands down to waiting blocks or to the ground. Release the weight of your head here. Good, so eyes here are on our legs and our feet. If they're not already, shift your feet so that they are hips width distance apart. Bring some awareness to how you're pressing into your feet. So we want to be pressing down through the 4 corners of each foot. That's the fleshy areas beneath the big toes and the pinky toes. And that's pressing equally through your inner and outer heels. Keep that action and bring your hands to the outer edges of your lower legs. So palms point towards each other. It's as if I'm going to close a book. Hands are on the outer edges of the lower legs. Now we're going to do 2 actions at the same time. Action 1 is you're going to squeeze your hands as if you're trying to knock your knees towards each other, knock those low legs inwards. Action 2 is you're going to press your legs back out into that pressure of the hands. Chances are this is going to increase the sensation of stretch that you're feeling on the back of your legs. So keep that action, hands pressed inwards, legs pressed outward. From here, we'll search for something approximate to our half forward fold. So lengthen the crown of your head here away from your sit bones. Good, keep that action happening between your palms and your legs. Tuck your chin ever so slightly inwards. Pull the crown of your head forwards, actively reach your sit bones backwards. Big inhale here. Exhale, draw your belly button in, let your spine lengthen long. Keep that pressure, palms to the outer edges of your legs, feeling into perhaps this different sensation of our forward fold stretch. Good, and releasing your hands to the ground. Let's inhale, both hands come to your hips. Roll your shoulders open, use your exhale, press into the floor, rise up. Inhale, stretch your fingertips to the sky. Exhale, palms find each other, heart center here, Anjali Mudra. Good, nice inhale, reaching upwards. Exhale, lead with your heart as you bow, finding here your forward fold, hands free. Bend your knees enough to bring those hands to the ground. Spread your fingers wide, plant your palms flat, step your feet backwards, coming here to our downward dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana, nice long spine. Breathing deeply here. Again, always that option, shoulders tight, separate the hands laterally away from each other. If your low back, lumbar spine is feeling tight, separate your feet as wide as or wider than your yoga mat. One more nice inhale here, fill up, breathe to your edges. Exhale, settle both knees fully onto the ground here. Good, and as your knees lower onto the ground, send your hips to your heels, finding our balasana here, arms long, or maybe your arms want to come back and cup your heels. If your hands are not forward, bring your arms forward, plant your palms flat. Press into your palms, feel your shoulder blades draw down your back. Lift your body upwards, coming here, tabletop, neutral spine. Extend your left toes long, press your left toes down, press back through your heel. As you press back through your left heel, bring your left hand to your hip, rotate left heel down, toes forward, coming into our other side of our side plank variation. Right knee down, supporting you, right wrist beneath your shoulder. Option to stay here, hand on hip, or extend that left arm long, reach the fingertips in the same direction as the crown of your head. Maybe staying here, left heel down, maybe lifting your left heel up to hip height. Draw your toes inwards towards your knee. Keep pressing through your heel. Might stay here, left arm forward, or might reach those left fingertips out, coming into a kneeling variation of our half moon pose. Good, big inhale here. Exhale, settle that left heel down if it's not there already. Bring your left hand to your hip. Rotate so your heart and eyes face down, coming back onto hands and knees here, tabletop. And here we'll invite your left heel in between your hands. So same leg now coming forward. Option for hands down on the ground, or maybe your hands want to reach up on blocks here. Draw your shoulder blades towards each other onto your back. Lift your eyes. Nice inhale here. Exhale, bring your gaze back towards heart center. Send your hips backwards. Dropping into your rhythm here. Inhaling forward. Nice lifted gaze. Exhale, hips come back. Gaze comes down. And just feeling into your body in this moment, connecting with a gratefulness for a working body, even if we're feeling strong sensation. Gratefulness for this practice. Encourage this mind-body connection. Good, we'll take one more forward, one more back of this movement, and then we'll pause the next time we come forward. And with your hips forward, invite now both hands to come up to your left thigh. If they're not already, curl your right toes under here. Find some stability in the right foot, and then drag your left heel slightly backwards. Shorten that space between your front heel and your back knee. Bring both palms towards each other at heart center. Lean ever so slightly forward. Keep your back nice and long. Press into your right toes. Lift your right knee up, and then step your feet towards each other. Good, nice big inhale, stretch up. Exhale, lead with your heart as you come into your Uttanasana here, standing forward fold. Take your half lift. Fingers might stay on the ground on a block or come to your knees. Draw your belly button in, fold deeper here. Inhale, climb both hands up to your hips. Roll your shoulders more firmly onto your spine. Use your exhale, rise up, find your Tadasana here. Big inhale, stretching up. Exhale, bring your hands inwards. Good, another inhale here, reaching for the sky. Peel your heart up, lift your eyes. Exhale, lead with your heart more than your chin as you come forwards here. Good, take that half lift, Ardha Uttanasana here. Gaze down, separate your feet, that hips width distance if they're not already. Find that action of pressing equally through the four corners of both feet. That's our Yogi Pada Bandha, Yogi footlock. Send your hands once more to the outer edges of your shin. Palms pressed towards each other, legs pressed backwards. Good, another inhale here. Bring your spine parallel to the ground. Gaze is down, press forward through the roof of your mouth. Exhale, draw your belly button in. Let your spine descend longer. Keep that action of pressing hands into outer legs, legs into the palms of your hands. Breathe here. The next exhale, release your hands down to the ground. Take an inhale, find your hips with your hands, point your elbows to the sky. Use your exhale, rise up, press into your feet, lift your body upwards. Inhale, stretch for the sky. Exhale, palms find each other. Good. Setting up for a moment of a balance practice. And I say this because we've been inviting the use of blankets underneath our knees. So if you do have a blanket or a fold in your yoga mat, go ahead and give yourself a more firm foundation on which to stand. Good. Keep your hands at heart center. Separate your feet if they're not already hips width distance. Find that action here of Yogi Pada Bandha. We're going to do that with our toes lifted. Pull your toes away from the ground. Press equally through the four corners of each foot. Good. With your toes lifted, imagine you can pull the arches of your feet up into your body. Soften your toes to the ground without gripping. Keep that action, four corners pressing down on your left foot. Step your right toes backwards. Toes pressed down. Right heel stays lifted. Good. With your hands at heart center, drop your gaze here, looking towards that top line of your yoga mat. That's going to be our drishti points as we come into this balancing pose. Good. So our practice today, if you're not feeling really balancy, our practice might be leaning forward, lifting the foot up, coming back, bringing your toes back down. So if you're feeling shaky in your balance practice, we might just play with this really low stakes coming in and out, moving towards this variation of our warrior three. If you're feeling more balancy as you lean forward, you're going to keep that Pada Bandha on both feet. So our standing leg presses through the four corners, but so does our lifted leg. Press through that heel. Keep your toes drawing inwards as your leg lifts to hip height. Toes and hips point down, body lengthening long. Breathing here. Good. Exhale, lower those right toes down. Inhale, step your feet towards each other. Settle one hand to your heart, one hand to your belly. Close your eyes here. Good. Just connecting with this moment, connecting with your breath. Connecting with a sense of gratitude, releasing any stories your mind might have begun to spin about balancing and being good or bad at it. Let that go. Come back to this acceptance of the luck swirling around you. Come back to the joy of this moment. And as you're ready, we'll draw your palms towards each other. Let your eyes open. Drop your gaze towards your toes. Find your Yogi Pada Bandha feet here. Lift your toes. Press equally through the balls beneath your big toes and your pinky toes. Press equally through your inner and your outer heels. Pull your arches inwards. Lower your toes without gripping. And this time, left toes step backwards. Left heel stays lifted. Good. Drop your gaze. Find that long line, that short line at that top of your yoga mat. Let your gaze focus here. Let your breath steady within you. Nice inhale here. And as you're ready, we'll exhale. And again, we might on this side stay with this movement, this up and down of our back leg, feeling into the work that our standing leg does. Or if you feel a little more steady in your balance when you come forward, you might stay and hold. Finding Yogi Padabandha, Yogi foot lock on our standing and our lifted leg. Keeping your spine nice and long, keep breathing here. Breath and gaze are steady down. Good, next exhale, lower those left toes to the ground. Step your feet towards each other. Hands come to the torso again, or might release your hands by your side as you close your eyes. When we practice the art of showing up on our yoga mat, we're able to see the shifts that our practice makes in our body. When we take these conscious pauses in our practice, we can feel the prana, that extra energy that yoga offers, moving through all the cells of the body. Good, and let your eyes open here. If you have a block handy, going to take your block, set your block right in front of your left foot. You don't need a block here, but it's a nice touch. Bring your palms towards each other. Good, find your Yogi Padabandha feet, nice strong feet. Bring your gaze towards the front line of your yoga mat. Step your right toes backwards, right heel stays lifted. Good, this should feel familiar. Good, keep that Padabandha, standing leg. Find your steady breath. Inhale here, hinge forward, lift your right heel up to hip height, coming back into our Virabhadrasana 3, our Warrior 3 variation. Good, here perhaps that waiting block could be our new drishti point. So we're going to bring our right hand to our hip. Left hand is going to reach down, catch that block, settle your weight into the block. Keep that right foot lifting to hip height. Good, so we do have options for our block. It doesn't have to be on its tallest height. Good, might stay here, finding a steadiness. If you feel steady, we can begin to rotate open. First toes, then knees, hips, heart, gaze. Maybe the right fingertips want to stretch up to the sky. Good, exhale, send that right hand back to your hip if it's not there already. Rotate, toes, knees pointing down, drop that back foot. Bring both hands down to the ground. Good, and let's bend into our knees. Drop your hips downwards here. Pressing your fingertips into the ground. Heels are lifted, leaning forward here. Grounding after that balancing pose. Keep your fingertips down. Press your heels backwards. Lengthen your hips upwards. Take a half rise here. Then exhale, soften in. Send both hands to your hips. Roll your shoulders open. Use your exhale, rise up here. Inhale, reach upwards. Exhale, find heart center, Anjali Mudra. Good, and we will take that block. Let's set it on its tallest height if it's not already, this time in front of your right toes. The block coming in front of your right toes if you're using it. Good. Find hands at heart center. Find nice, strong feet. Step now, left toes backwards, left heel stays lifted. Good. Find your steadiness. Big inhale. Exhale as you're ready. Find that warrior three. Tilt forward. Lift your back toes away from the ground. Press through your lifted heel. Next exhale, left hand comes to your hip, right hand reaches down, catching your block or catching the ground. Might stay here, gaze down, toes down, hips down, or you might begin to rotate open first knees, hips, heart, maybe that left fingers want to reach up for the sky here. Good, and if we're lifted here, lower your lifted hand, rotate everything to face down, release that back foot to the ground, stretch both hands down, and again, we'll find that low squat. And so we're coming into the squat with our heels lifted, fingertips down, just grounding here. You could stay here, or we could turn this into our malasana by walking the toes out. Maybe the heels come down and the elbows come to the inner knees as our palms find each other. Good, and let's exhale. Release the weight of your body down. Go ahead and face the long side of your yoga mat. And as you come to the long side of your yoga mat, stretch your heels wide away from each other. Good. Keep your hands behind you. Just find a little bounce into your knees. Good. We've done a lot of work opening your legs today. We're going to take advantage of that, but we do want to keep any stretching that we do, we want to keep sensation out of the joint. So if as we move deeper into these shapes, you start to feel a pulling behind your knees, give your knees a little bend. And we're just going to start here, arms out, and we're just going to tick-tock side to side here. So just gently moving side to side, touching toes with our fingers. And again, always the option to bend into your knees. Don't stress your knee joints. I can't say that often enough. And the next time we come to one side, let's pause. Let's take both hands over towards that side. Good, now we don't need to be touching our toes here. Our hands could be up fairly high, up towards our thigh or our knee. If you can do so without stressing out any joints, you might reach your hands for your toes, but it's not necessary to be in this shape. Let's come back to your steady breath here. Nice inhale, soft exhale. Good, on an inhale, let's walk your hands back up, lift your torso up. Bring it over to your other leg, stretching towards that opposite leg. And again, we might be really high on this leg. You might lengthen long along the leg. There's no right or wrong here. As long as you can breathe easily, as long as we're not stressing your knee. Find your steady breath. Good. And on an inhale here, let's just begin to walk your hands inwards. Lift your torso upwards. Good. And as we prepare to come forward, if you have been using that little bend in your knees, one way to support that is to settle a block underneath each knee. It's a little easier to relax as we come into our neck shape, which is forward with our heels stretched away from each other. So a block or even like a little blanket underneath your knees is helpful. Nice big inhale here, stretch your arms up. Exhale, come forward. Here, we could just be forward a little bit, right? So we just might reach our fingers forward, keep our heart really tall, or we might play with how it feels to walk our hand forward. Maybe even drop your elbows down, maybe, and I'm not going to do this today, but maybe you'll cross forearm over forearm and rest your chin or your forehead down. So there's no right or wrong here as long as your breath is moving in your body. As long as we're not pulling on anything or creating pain sensations, stabbing sensations. Stay with this gentle opening. Stay with this steady movement of prana, of this life energy of your breath moving in your body. And on an inhale, very slowly, begin to walk your hands towards your torso, lifting upwards. Let's invite your heels towards each other, removing anything that might be beneath your knees. And we'll shift so that we're seated long on the yoga mat, so that your seat is in the center of your yoga mat. And from here, come to lying on your back body. And as you come to lying here on your back body, bring both knees in towards your chest. Squeeze your knees inwards here. Good. Take your right hand to the outer edge of your left knee. Invite both knees over towards the right side. Reach your left arm long towards the top short line of your yoga mat. So a little different than we usually do in our twists. Left arm reaches up instead of to the left. Gaze here could be up, could rotate, looking towards your long arm. Good. Might stay here, left arm long. Might take that left arm, stretch it out to the left, keeping your gaze, again, directly up or turning to the left. Coming here in our reclining twist. Keep your awareness on the feeling of your breath here, moving in your body. And then an inhale, bring it back to center. Gaze up. Lengthen that left arm back long if it's not already. And then inhale here, release your right hand from your left knee. Float both knees back towards center. Take a hold of the outer edge of both knees with both hands. Squeeze your knees inward. And then taking left hand to the outer edge of your right knee, guide your knees to the left. Stretch your right arm long, parallel to your right ear. gaze could be directly up, could just rotate looking towards your long arm. Option to stay here, right arm reaching backwards, or take that right arm and stretch it out to the right, coming into our more classic shape of our Jathara Parvriti. Good. On an inhale here, stretch your right arm long if it's not there already. Use your next inhale, bring both knees towards center, both knees towards your chest, hugging inwards here. And then lengthen both heels down to the ground. As your heels come to the ground, you can stretch your legs long. As your legs stretch long here, bring your hands down by your side. Bend lightly into your knees to send your feet to the ground. Press into your feet, lift your feet away from the ground, and slide your palms underneath your seat, palms down. Lengthen your legs long here, and then work your elbows towards each other. Chest here lifts, press into your elbows, lift your chest up, bring your gaze backwards. Head here could float, or keeping the weight into your elbows, you can gently touch the crown of your head to the ground, coming into our fish pose. Good. If you're here, press into your elbows, lift your head up, tuck your chin in, and lower the back of your head down. Bend into your knees, bring your feet to the ground, lift your seat up, free your hands by your side, and then lengthen your legs long here, coming into our resting shape, our Shavasana here. Option, of course, to set a roll of blanket or a pillow underneath your knees. Let your legs lengthen long. Feel the weight of your body heavy here, resting here. Let yourself release here, control of your breath. Let yourself rest here in this pose of repose, pure relaxation. And bringing awareness gently back to your breath. And begin to seek here small movements in your fingers and your toes, your wrists, your ankles. And as you're ready, take a nice long stretch of your body. Bring your knees to your chest, wrap your arms around your knees, give yourself a hug. And find some light movement side to side. And allow yourself to rest easy on one side. And use the strength of your top arm to press yourself up to a seat. And bring here palms towards each other. Drop your gaze inward. And take this moment to check in. Notice how this practice has made you feel in body, in mind, in spirit. And thank yourself for showing up for your practice today and for connecting with this energy of gratitude, of love.